talk about surveys, shall we? Because I love your latest newsletter where you said, when's the last time you took an online survey and thought, wow, this is great. I feel so valued. Like, what's the deal with surveys? Good, bad? Is there a good way to do these that people actually feel like they want to engage with them? Because I think we're all surveyed out at this point.
Yeah, I think there are a number of issues with surveys. I think the primary issue is for a lot of companies, it's a checkbox.
Yeah.
Right. Unfortunately. Okay. Yes, everybody to survey. So we need to do a survey. That if that's your intention, don't and I mean this genuinely, don't bother. Just don't bother. The other piece of it is a lot of companies don't follow up on surveys. Right. So great. We get our feedback from you. It goes into our data set and we're going to crunch the numbers and make decisions.
And never hear from you again.
And we never, the big black hole of customer feedback is what I call that. And customers are irritated by that, right? I mean, if I'm going to take my time, even if it's just a 1-question survey, I don't know, what did you do with that, right? I mean, does my feedback actually mean something to you or does it actually?
Yeah, did you actually hear me? Back to that point.
Exactly. That's a great point. Yes. Did you actually hear me? Mm-hmm. And so when surveys are a great tool, if used in the right way, and what they are, just like if you look at it from the perspective of marketing, right? Anyone who has, who's been trained or done any education around marketing, you need to be able to deliver a message in multiple different formats. You need to be buyer friendly. It needs to be buyer first. There are some customers who are fine with surveys. They're going to fill that out and they're going to send it back to you. And those customers typically are also customers who are going to be very responsive to a follow-up, to an interview, right? There are other customers who immediately dismiss surveys. They have no interest in doing a survey at all. But if I reach out to schedule a high-touch, one-on-one, 30-minute interview where I'm looking for some deep insight, they are on board. They are willing to have that kind of a conversation. So if you look at surveys as the end all be all to how I'm going to collect feedback from my customers, wrong, not going to work. If you look at surveys as one tool in a variety of tools that you are going to use to truly connect to the voice of your customer, then they can be useful. And there can be some really great data that you generate from them. But the minute that the completing the survey becomes the intention, you're done. Just don't even bother.
Yeah. It's almost like the survey is a useful tool to give you the clues or the cues as to what you need to be talking to your customers about. So say you do a survey and, you've hopefully worked with Tonya to get those questions right, because the questions in the survey matter a lot because there isn't that conversation. And then using that to then be able to understand, what is the overall sentiment and if you have collected names, then being able to reach out to that individual person and say, I'd love to understand more about what you said here. Can have a conversation. So yes, I totally agree. They have a tool, but to your point, I see so many companies, they're like, we have an NPS score of 90. Great for you.
Okay. What are you doing with that?
Right. Yeah, Michael says that they do customer surveys. They send out a short 10-question, and it's designed to give them talking points for a 30-minute interview. That sounds like a great way to do it.
Perfect. That is absolutely fantastic. And hopefully they're reaching out to schedule interviews even with the people who don't answer that 10-question survey, right? I mean, that is your ideal. That is the situation where you have got an opportunity for a great partnership with that customer. That's a customer that you want to start exploring other options. You want to start thinking out of the box on how you can work together and, not only being a customer, but maybe there's some industry thought leadership opportunities and those sorts of things, right? But make sure that survey is not the barrier to entry to a really valuable conversation.
Yeah. I actually leverage surveys in the writing of Buyer First book, and I'm going into the phase where we're doing advanced readers. And so before I even started writing the book, I did a survey to understand what are the greatest challenges that business owners are facing. And then from that, found people to actually interview to talk to, like, what are the challenges that you face when you think about sales as a business owner, as an individual seller? And those became the key teaching points in the book. And so now going through and doing advanced readers, I'm asking them some similar questions up front as to what is your belief about this beforehand, and then having some questions in one-to-one time with them after they go through the reading to understand, was there a shift? Was there a change? What stuck? What didn't stick? So what I'm hearing you say is that surveys by themselves are, you know, they're a tool, but if you don't pick up the tool and use it effectively, then it's just going to sit there and do nothing for you.
Yeah, it's a data point.
Yeah.
It's a valuable data point, but it's one data point. Yeah.
Data points are like excuses. Everybody's got one.
Yeah. That's good. I've never heard that. I love it.
I like the way I clean that up because there's another whole side to that. But
yeah.
But thank you so much for joining me today, Tonya. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you after today's session?
So, well, LinkedIn is fantastic. I am the only Tonya Bjurstrom. Bjurstrom's not like Smith, so I'm pretty easy to find on LinkedIn. You can also check out my website, which is dirbysolutions.com, DIRBY solutions.com.
Awesome. And please reach out to Tonya. I know that she is a wealth of information and knowledge as far as customer experience and being buyer first. She is like my sister from another mister as far as buyer first goes.
I love it. And I cannot wait for the buyer.
I thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you follow Tonya on LinkedIn. Reach out to her with your questions. Let her know that you saw her on the Buyer First Ask Me Anything. And join us for our next Buyer First.